Welcome to Your Research Business Daily Report, sponsored today and this week by Socratic Technologies, whose proprietary tools and methodologies tackle marketing complexities so you can make confident business decisions. President Obama put out his 2014 budget last week, and it was met with a torrent of criticism from Republicans and even Democrats. There's no limit to the number of concerned constituencies when it comes to spending, and that includes the research industry. MRA's Director of Government Affairs, Howard Fienberg, watches and lobbies the House and Senate to positively impact our research industry interests. This past Monday, Howard published his analysis of what the president's budget means to us, and he was kind enough to get on his iPhone and speak to RBDR about that. Concerned about.
The two big issues in the president's budget for the research profession are the funding for the census, which underpins the statistical validity of pretty much every survey in the United States, and the provisions attacking independent contractors, which is of an issue for any research company that offers incentives for response. On the census side, we have an increase in funding, or at least proposed increase in funding for the Census Bureau's activities, particularly regarding the decennial census and the American Community Survey. And back on that negative side, we have proposals for both the Department of Labor and the Internal Revenue Service that would target independent contractors, eliminate a lot of existing protections for those relationships, which is an issue because people who receive respondent incentives, our research respondents, are presumed to be independent contractors by us, but by certain regulatory agencies, including the Department of Labor and sometimes IRS, they are considered employees rather than independent contractors.
Okay. Now, how would you compare this budget and its implications on the industry with earlier budgets? Is it worse, is it better, or is it about the same?
It's more or less what I've come to expect. We've only been looking at the census funding, we've been looking at census funding since at least 2004, in pretty much every budget. So, the willingness to fund the census at a greater level is pretty common, especially under this administration. The converse is true as well. We've only been following the independent contractor issue and respondent incentives for the last couple years, but we're looking at almost identical proposals for Department of Labor and IRS from the last couple years. It's the same as we're seeing this time. So it's sort of status quo.
You're talking about here Democrats who are the adversary when it comes to the contractor situation, and you're talking about Republicans who are not favorably disposed to the industry when it comes to spending for the census and such. Is one side or the other, from a research perspective, more implacable than the other as far as trying to negotiate something with them that the industry would be appreciative of?
I think there's actually a lot more flexibility when it comes to the census. Because while Democrats are certainly much more favorable to increase funding for the census versus Republicans, there's a lot more room for give. And as you know, we've had a lot of problems with fights with the Republicans in the House of Representatives over the American Community Survey and whether to make it a voluntary response rather than the current mandatory response. And frankly, the existence of the survey entirely. There's more room for give when it comes to basic funding issues. When it comes to independent contractors, and that's the impact there on respondent incentives, there is a lot less room for maneuver where Republicans are pretty supportive of independent contractor relationships. Democrats in general are extremely hostile to it. And we could spend all day talking about exactly why. I'll spare everyone that discussion. We could discuss it some other time.
Okay. Howard, do you encourage members of the industry to get in touch with their legislators, or in particular certain members of the Congress or the Senate, on either or both of these issues? And who would that be if that's the case?
Oh, absolutely. And you need to be a resident, or your business needs to be a resident of a member of Congress or senator's district or state. I certainly encourage it. I encourage them to talk with me first, and we can help try to arrange it and make sure that everyone is in contact in the right way. But the key is contacting people that represent you rather than someone in a neighboring district.
Here's how to reach Howard. It's howard.feinberg@marketingresearch.org. or 2025707312. That's your Research Business Daily Report, sponsored by Socratic Technologies, whose proprietary tools and methodologies tackle marketing complexities so you can make confident business decisions. If quality research means anything to you, you really should check out Socratic's link underneath this video. Have a great research day and join us again tomorrow.